Alright, hello everybody. I wanted to give you a quick demonstration of Pentaho's data integration using the Agile BI development methodology. In this example, what we're going to do is we're going to take a real world scenario. In this example, we have the marketing department came to us with some data that they have that they need cleansed and to be able to perform some marketing campaigns that they have and do some analysis as well. So let's take a look at the file they gave us here. And so what we'll notice is, as per their request, they need to clean the data. And one of the parts that they need to clean is, you'll notice here, postal code. There are zip codes missing. So for them to be able to accomplish what their tasks are, they need all the zip codes filled in. So we're going to go ahead and fix that problem. Another issue here, if you notice under country, you'll see United States and also USA. So we have some inconsistent data formats there, or data formatting, right? So to be able to do analysis and categorize this, we need consistent data. So we're going to fix that. And then the last item that they require is they want to be able to segment their audience by the amount that they have purchased from our company. So we're going to look at the number of sales for each of those customers, and then also we're going to categorize the customers based on their sales. So we're categorizing them into small, medium, and large customers, so we can market the appropriate campaigns to that particular customer. So let's take a look at what we're doing here. So within Pentaho Data Integration, we're reading in the sales data here, and the data is going to flow along these lines to this next step. And the first step here is to filter out the missing zip codes. So if the postal code is not null, we're going to send it over to the next step. But if it is null, if it's missing, we're going to send it down here. And once it comes down here, we're going to look those zip codes up. And here we're using a flat file to look it up, but you can look it up. Let's say the Postal Service offers a web service to be able to look up that information. You could access that and look it up that way as well. In this example, again, we're using a flat file. And then we're taking that and we're merging that data here that we've looked up with the original stream of data, making sure it's in the proper format as we brought it in here. And then it's going to meet up with the other data that already had the zip codes within each record. And so we're going to this next step called value mapper. And in this step, what we're doing is we're going to work on consistent data, right? So anything that says United States, we're going to change to USA so that we have consistent data across our organization. So what we've done now is we've taken these steps here to clean our data, and then we've used this step here to make our data consistent. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create some data here at the number range. So if you'll notice here, I created this new step. I'm looking at the field sales, and we're going to create a new output field called deal size. So again, we're gonna segment our customers here. So any customer with sales of less than 3,000, we're going to categorize them as small. Any customers that are between, let's say, 3 and 7,000, we're going to accept them as medium, or categorize them as medium. And anybody over 7,000, we're going to categorize them as large. So let's go ahead and click OK. So now that we've met all of the requirements from our marketing department, we're going to go ahead and put that into a data warehouse. So before we go ahead and make this productional, though, we want to make sure that we've met all of their needs. So I can simply do that by calling them over and using an iterative process of going back and forth on the fly to be able to see if we've met their needs. So I'm going to take a look at this in a reporting environment without having to create the metadata manually. It's all done automatically through our Agile BI initiative. And here, so I could drag territory, and let's say I'm sitting down with the marketing analyst here to make sure that we've met their needs. So we drag territory, and he asked, okay, can you drag sales? So we're looking at sales across each territory. Okay, that's great. That meets our needs. But one thing, the analyst says, well, sometimes she likes to look at number of transactions, and that's not available field there. Can we make it available? So I say sure. So let's go ahead and make that only available in the model, so we don't have to go and make any changes to our data warehouse. So I'm going to go ahead and click View, and let's go ahead and create this new measure. And we're going to call this measure number of transactions. And so now that we created this new measure number of transactions, we want to tie that to an actual field in the database so that it makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie a transaction basically is an order. and a unique transaction is distinguished by an order number. So we're going to select order number, and we're basically going to count the distinct order numbers to be able to look at the number of orders. So we're going to save our changes to our model, and we're going to go back to the report here. And so let's go ahead and try this again. So we're going to go to territory and sales, and then now number of transactions. And then I can just ask, Mr. Marketing Analyst, does this meet your needs? Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I want. I wonder, IT, if I can also do a quick calculation on what the average sales per transaction is. Well, great. We don't even have to go into the model to do that if we don't want to. Depending on the business requirements, I can actually create a user-defined number here on the fly, and we're going to call this average transaction price, and we're going to select currency. And basically the average transaction price, right, is sales divided by number of transactions, and we're going to go ahead and click OK, and then it populates that for us. So now we can look at the average transaction price, and we see that EMEA is doing a great job with having the highest average transaction price there. So that being said, now we can actually take this data and go to our model and publish it to our server because it meets the needs. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll publish it to the server, and then so we can go into our user console and log into our user console, and the data is now available to the end users through our user console. So let me go ahead and log into the user console here. Now while that's logging in, the video is slowing down my system here, but while that's logging in, let me show you also within the Pentaho data integration, everything I just showed you in that step is can be duplicated by following the Getting Started guide. So if you go to the main data integration perspective and the welcome, if you click on Getting Started, that will walk you through the building this transformation yourself. So now if I go into New Analyzer and click on New Analyzer Report, you'll notice that I'll have option to select different models. And one of those models is the model that I just published, that I just created, called Model 4. And that will allow users to be able to interact with the data like we did on our Thick Client tool within our environment. So here we have Model 4, and again, the video streaming application I have is slowing my machine down like crazy. So we select Model 4, and again, that's going to give access to the model that we just created for reporting purposes to everybody in the organization that has the rights and privileges to view that information. So when they log in with their username and ID, they will have the ability to create their own reports based on that information. And here we see that model with the number of transactions and the sales as well.